Hey guys, my name is Jacob Jones and I'm the youth pastor at Centerville Community Church, and I'm here to give my presentation for my pathway course on leadership. And this is basically my three biggest takeaways from the course. Now, my first big takeaway from the course that I've learned personally is you have to be real. If I've learned anything from this leadership course, it's that you have to be honest about yourself as a leader. This includes being a vulnerable leader in regards to trusting your team and being honest about your weaknesses and shortcomings as a leader, like Patrick Lencioni talked about in this course. My first message that I preached on to the student ministry that I currently oversee, I was vulnerable and I told them about everything that I had went through in my life, and it helped build a foundation of trust. It sort of humanized me a little bit and said, hey, this person has gone through some of the same things that we have. We can trust this guy. This also includes being yourself, not being the leader that you think you should be or someone else thinks you should be due to someone else's idea of what a pastor, a leader, or a CEO, or whatever kind of position that you're in should be. This means you shouldn't have to feel like you have to be the smartest person in the room. And I don't know about you, but that's like a huge weight off my shoulders, meaning that I don't have to have all the answers. If I can get my answers from the people that I surround myself with, from the people that I trust, then and learn that I do not have to know everything, that helps me in being a better leader, and it also helps me be less prideful, thinking that I have all the answers when in reality I don't. People respect you more when you're honest. If someone asks a question and you don't know the answer, but you try to act like you know everything and try to answer it anyway, they're not going to respect you because they are going to feel like you lied to them. And there is nothing more trust-breaking than someone lying to you. Craig Groeschel says on his leadership podcast at the end of every episode, people would rather follow a leader who's always real than one who's always right. Number two, you have to be strong. The strength that I'm talking about isn't the kind that every leader thinks they need to be. Like they need to be the stoic, have all the answers, have it all together kind of leader. The strength I'm talking about is the strength that God gives us as leaders and as Christians. There are times where we don't have it all together and we just feel like giving up because something happens that we weren't prepared for or something tragic in our lives. We go through what T.D. Jakes would refer to as the crushing, as like he said in his interview with Stephen Furtick. But the strength in that is that God is preparing us to be a better leader and a better Christian, and will use the crushing to make us stronger. Unity is also a way that we can be strong. The church is so divided, so much so, and so much by the different ways that us Christians believe and how we believe ministry should be done, among other things, that we forget that our job as leaders and as Christians in general is to maintain that unity. No, I'm not saying that we should try to convince other people to think like we do. But instead of focusing on our differences, we should focus on what unites us all as Christians, and that's Jesus, his work on the cross, and our role in the Great Commission. Again, we need to understand that our true strength comes from God. If we try to rely on our own strength and try to lead with our own wisdom, we will become insecure and ineffective leaders, and our work would become meaningless. However, if we give God everything who we are, He is able to do so much more with it and give it life and meaning. That, to me, that hits deep when it comes to biblical leadership. And that's something that every pastor in America needs to hear. And number 3, you have to be strategic. Us as leaders have to think and pray about how to best lead our churches and organizations. I took a lot of notes on one of Andy Stanley's videos, especially on the importance of clarity and leadership. The fact that Adolf Hitler had a clear vision and led an entire nation down a very dark path says a lot of the power of clarity in our vision for our churches and for our organizations. We can have every good intention in the world and intend to do so much good in the world, but without clarity, it's for nothing. Scripture says without vision, people perish. Since we know that it is true, the opposite is as well. When vision is present, the church will flourish. This causes a leader to accept this mandate of keeping our vision before those that we lead, or the vision that God gives us. There we go. Those are words. Excellence also needs to be a top priority in ministry. Like in the first set of videos, it would not be excellent for me to preach a message without having slides to help those taking notes. It would not be excellent of me not to have new students walking into service on Wednesday and not at least say hi to them and greet them and make them feel welcomed. Being good means doing the minimum. Being excellent means going the extra mile. In the Maxims of Spiritual Leadership, the speaker talked about the importance of getting rid of people with a bad attitude on your team. I think, whenever I think of that, I think of Proverbs 22:10, where it says, "Drive out a mocker and conflict goes too. Then quarreling and dishonor will cease." Oddly enough, the best comparison I can make is Hell's Kitchen. You know, the Gordon Ramsay show where most of the Gordon Ramsay memes comes from. Every year on the show, there is always a chef where no matter how good they are in the kitchen, their team is always losing because of their bad attitude. It goes to show you that your attitude, more often than not, will always trump your talent level in terms of how successful you will be. And that was my 3 biggest takeaways from everything that I learned from the Effective Leadership course provided by Pathway Training. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.